This is Season 2, Episode 15 of the TO SportsTalk Podcast, playoff edition of the TO SportsTalk Podcast. And boy, oh boy, Leaf fans, we are now in territory that we've gotten way too used to seeing between Leafs and Bruins.
Third, I'm not going to say consecutive year, but third time it's happened in the last 2013, 6 years. So we're seeing a lot of the Bruins in Game 7 in Boston. I feel like there's a different vibe from this year to last year. Obviously, different team. Both teams are different, especially for the Leafs. But what I saw last night with the Toronto Maple Leafs, other than the first 10 minutes of the game, they look great. They look great out there. Riley hit a post.
For the first 10 minutes, yeah.
He hit a post, and then with the same exact shot, he scored on that. Great. But after that, Freddie letting us off one for Marchand.
Well, see, the reason why I'm not gonna, I can't blame Frederik Andersen on that because the shot initially hit Ron Hainsey.
Did it?
Yeah, it hit Ron Hainsey's. It was actually going to his right, and it couldn't even be going wide of the net, but it hit Hainsey's leg and it goes 5-hole.
But it's funny because it looked like he had it.
Yeah, he got a piece of it.
Right.
He got a piece
and then
of
it slipped through. That's why I'm saying Freddie, man, if you had it, you got to have it all.
I can't blame him for that goal because it's a redirect. First off, he didn't probably expect the shot from Brad Marchand right away, and then it hits Ron Hainsey. And it's not like it just redirected a little bit either. It redirected half of the net. Yeah. So it was a big redirect, and it finds a way to beat him 5-hole. But after that first power play goal, when we just talked about, the Leafs fell apart. They were nowhere to be found. They lost their leg. They couldn't make a pass. They looked horrendous until the third period. But at that point, you're already down 3-1, and you got to try and crawl back into the game.
So this last podcast, we were talking about going down to the square of Game 2. We don't know what happened now. There's a lot to cover. Let's start with it. What's your opinion on the Kadri hit on Jake DeBrusk?
I think we can both agree. I think every Leaf fan can agree with this. And you mentioned it to me yesterday. I'm going to give you the credit for it because it was a really, really good comment you made.
Thank you.
Saying how Nazem Kadri was playing for himself and not for the crest on the center of his jersey.
It's true because he has to realize he's a repeat offender. He's done it multiple times. He did it last year to Chris Wagner. So that's that.
Bottom line, was it Game 2 last year as well?
I don't know. I know it was early in the series.
It
might have been Game 2.
It was either Game 1 or 2. I think
it wasn't Game 1. It wasn't Game 1. It might have been Game 2 or 3, but roughly the same period of time.
Bottom line, you're in those series, right? In those series, let's say it's Game 2, right? And it's at the barrel of the game, and the Leafs are getting their butt whipped, and they're down 2-0 in the series going back to Toronto, and you lost Kadri. Horrendous. But then the team finds a way to crawl back, but you don't have Kadri. This year, you won the first game, and you were getting smushed in the second game. He takes that stupid penalty and gets a 5-game suspension, and he's done.
Well, he got a suspension for the whole series.
The rest of the series, yes.
And if we lose this series, I think we will, solely because of Kadri wasn't in the lineup. Listen, we need Nazem Kadri more than anybody right now because of the way he plays, the grit he brings to this team, and if we don't have that in the lineup, I mean, we're throwing in Tyler Ennis, who's been great, but would you rather have Ennis or Kadri? Thank you.
Now, if you want to throw it this way, if you want to kind of, I think the Leafs are, 2-2 without Kadri in the series? And the crazy thing about this series, it's like whenever a team loses a game, they bounce back with a really good game. So for Leaf fans, I guess you kind of hope and pray that trend continues in Game 7.
It's been lose, win, but it's just how he did it and when he did it. Listen, the Leafs were going to lose that game with 5 minutes left in the game.
Really? 4-1. I mean, it was pretty much over.
Exactly. It was just because now, did that knee on knee? That should have been a penalty. That should have been at least. I'm not even going to say offset minors for both players. Jake DeBrusk should have got at least 2 minutes.
Yep.
But he didn't get anything. But we could talk about the referees all we want. That game from both sides of the ice was horrendous officiating. From the Boston's end and from our end, bad officiating. Both teams.
But when they weren't being horrendously officiated, the Leafs were getting dominated.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yes, we can talk about the referees, and we can talk about how bad they were, and Leaf fans want to talk about how bad the referees were in the last game. I get that. I understand they missed calls. We got to learn to realize it is playoff hockey, and in the third period, in a tight game, they're not going to call these nitty-bitty penalties.
No, and that Matthews goal in Game 5, I understand when Zach Hyman he didn't get pushed into Tuukka Rask, but Leaf fans are saying, well, even if Rask got over, he wouldn't have saved that shot. True, but in my defense, I think that should have been goal interference, and it wasn't. It was called a good goal.
Honestly, though, at this point in hockey, you look at the goal interference penalty. I guess the review of it has been 2 years now, 2 or 3 years now.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure about that.
It's been horrendous.
Well, yeah,
we don't know what goalie interference actually is.
No.
People look at it and go, well, I mean, it could be, and at that point, you're like, well, I guess it's a good goal because it was the call on the ice stands.
Consistency.
Right.
That's what we want, and it could have gone either way. It was so tight that Zach Hyman, that play, I mean, I'm not that sure.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, you date back to last year, right? Was it last year? I think it was against Colorado. Remember when Austin Matthews? Remember when he got the goal called off, and then he scored like 5 minutes later and did the whole goal celebration. That goal that got called off, he didn't even touch Jonathan Bernier in the net, and they call it goal interference.
Right, but I think we can all agree that against Colorado is bad. I think we can all agree on that. But this one that they called, it was a good goal. It was a bit 50-50. It could have gone either way. But so let's move to Game 7. Game 7's tomorrow. And I mean, the bottom line is can the Leafs defeat the Bruins and their demons with the Bruins? Yeah. I right now after what I saw in Game 5, yes, they can. But what I saw in Game 6 2 nights ago, no.
Last night, Honestly, though, as much as I do agree with that, and every time the Leafs have lost a game in this series, I have my doubts just because that's what Leaf fans do. And you go to Game 1, the Leafs, win the game pretty single-handedly. They played a great game, and they get the win. We're like, wow, this team is actually different. Let's take both going back home. Then you get a reality check, and you get butt wiped by the Boston Bruins in Game 2, and you lose Kadri. Then you come home for Game 3 thinking, man, we got torched in Boston. You just lost Nazem Kadri. This might get to a rough series. And in Game 3, the Leafs play really well, and they get a win. And we're like, wow, this team can play without Kadri. Game 4, they suck.
Yep.
Game 5, they're actually pretty good again.
They're amazing.
Game 6, they weren't good. So honestly, as much as I do agree, the Game 6 performance was bad, but the way this team has played in the series, I don't know what to expect tomorrow night.
No, and especially in Boston, too, home ice is not a factor for either team in this series. And I think that's very interesting.
Both teams are 1-2 at home.
Exactly. So if you want to go off that, then yes, the Leafs have the edge, but I'm not giving the edge a lot, too. Now, let's talk about the Bruins' first line, because we were talking on the phone last night, and you were mentioning how even strength, they're terrible. They're awful.
Yeah, the
Leafs for power play,
the Leafs have dominated that line to the extent of they had to switch up the lines.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You saw, who was it, Danton Heinen on the first line replacing Bergeron?
Yeah, and you had Pasternak with Krejci at times. And they tried to find some combination 5-on-5. Now, at one point, it did work with the Jake DeBrusk goal, but other than that, 5-on-5, they didn't really get a whole lot going.
And I don't blame Cassidy for really changing up the lines because he totally had to. Now, my question to you is, do you think that they're going to go with the three-headed monster in Game 7 or they're going to switch it up again? I think that they got to go with the three-headed monster. They're going to show up in Game 7 no matter how they played during the series.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, look, that quote-unquote three-headed monster really hasn't done anything
they're going
the power play.
Right, but you know that they're going to show up in Game 7.
Right, but, I mean, we all say that about the playoffs in general, right? You think Game 1, everyone's fired up, ready to go, and they should come out flying. Game 1, the Leafs dominated the Bruins, and that, three-headed monster was ice cold, and they were terrible. Now, it's Game 7. It's Game 7.
In Boston.
Right, I know Game 1 was in Boston too, but Game 7.
It's Game 7. You can't compare it.
I understand that, but we have seen throughout this entire series, when that line is together, not on the power play, the Leafs find a way to shut them down.
Yeah, they do.
There's too much skill going on there. They're so used to kicking every team's rear end in all year long. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It just baffles me. I just personally believe that it worked in the last game. They dominated the Leafs with all the line changes they made. They're spreading out the goal scoring. Now, it worked for one game.
Is it going to work?
What has worked for them for 82 games plus, beyond? So
now the Leafs have looked good defensively this series, and I think I was talking to you about this once again on the phone last night.
Yeah.
The Leafs in this series were good in our own end with defense. Like, I didn't see any of those breakout passes that turned into icings. that many of them. They cut them down. There were still quite a few, but it wasn't as bad as we thought, right? Zaitsev, this has to be his best stretch as a Leaf, in my opinion.
He's looked really good in the
playoffs.
Jake
Muzzin's looked great. Travis Dermott's looked great. Jake Gardner looks okay. Riley's Riley. And Ron Hainsey looks overworked and overused.
Yep.
But I think that's normal, but I'm quite surprised how good the D-core is playing. Seriously.
Yeah.
And I think the one player that I can nitpick and kind of do any of that to would be Kasperi Kapanen. He's an extremely fast player. We all know this. But when he's breaking out into their own zone, into Boston zone, he doesn't know what to do with it. Like, I compare him to Tyler Ennis. Sorry to interrupt. I compare him to Tyler Ennis because when Tyler Ennis breaks out the puck and skates into the Boston zone, he tries to cycle the puck and cycle it to Gauthier, cycle it to Moore. With Kapanen, he doesn't cycle it to anybody. He just kind of throws it somewheres and hopefully, you know what I mean?
I think you can attest to this. When Kasperi Kapanen enters the offensive zone, he stops because he's flying, right? He's flying down the wing, and just as he gets past the blue line, he stops and he looks for somebody. And if he can't find somebody, he doesn't know what to do.
No, exactly. And he's struggled in this series.
Same as William Nylander. He looked awful in last game.
I gave him credit for the last couple 10, 15 games of the regular season. He looked great. This
Nylander
playoffs.
Or Kapanen?
Nylander.
Okay.
He looked great, but I mean, this series, he had spurts of being good.
The one goal off the great pass from Nazem Kadri in game 1. But other than that, I haven't seen a whole lot.
Same thing like Kapanen. He scored, I think, 2 goals? One was in game 5, and the other one, I can't remember. But it hasn't been that impressive. Janssen impressed the hell out of me. Matthews, he's finally woken up. The beast has been woken up.
Now, can we talk about Austin Matthews for a second here?
Yeah.
And all these people last year, Matthews only had 2 points in the 7 games, and he's not a playoff performer.
Because Babcock didn't play him.
Right, he's not a playoff performer, and all this mumbo-jumbo garbage.
Mumbo-jumbo.
Because people forget the playoffs against Washington, where Matthews was fantastic in that series. And in this series, he's got, 5 goals in 5 games?
Because Babcock's playing him over 20 minutes a night.
That's the way he should.
Well, last series he was playing 15 minutes. So Babcock's using him to what Austin Matthews should be used as, and that's a superstar. Now, let's talk about the other lines here. You can attest to me in saying that the worst player out on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs is Patrick Marleau.
I haven't seen him really at all.
No. I'm not a fan of him now. I mean, he's a great mentor, but at the end of the day, he's a burden on this team contract-wise, and he's got 1 more year. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires. If the Leafs don't win a cup or if they do win a cup, either or, I think he will, regardless what we do. But it's not looking good. Well, mind you, there is 1 more year of the contract, so it's not bad, but he doesn't look good.
No, he doesn't. And we need to get to some positive stuff with this team because, I mean, ideally, coming into the series, we're hearing Bruins in 4, we're hearing Bruins in 5.
I said 6.
And here we are in Game 7 once again. Everyone counts the Leafs out against the Bruins, even to win a couple games, and they continue to force Game 7s against this damn team. But for the 3rd time, and we talked about it all season long about home ice in the first round against Boston. This is why you do. This is why you want home ice. It's for these moments. Game 7.
Yeah. Because if you would have had home ice, it would be Game 7 going back to Toronto.
And you could have won Game 6 on the road. And if you didn't, we wouldn't feel as crazy. We wouldn't feel as pressured, I guess, because we're not playing another Game 7 in Boston.
If we lose this series, just knowing that we only had to win 1 out of the 2 games, 1 in 2 games, that's frustrating. And but again, I'm giving the Leafs credit because the game hasn't ended yet. The series has not ended yet. And it's tomorrow. But right now, all the momentum's on Boston's side. And just that, those demons might haunt the Leafs again because it's the 3rd time in the last 6 years that we've had this same deal in the same TD Garden Arena.
Now, what are the keys to the Leafs, I guess, winning Game 7 there tomorrow night? I think the first one is stay out of the damn penalty box. Now, it's easier said than done, obviously, especially in the playoffs with a physical series and all that.
Especially in the first period. You do not want to get the Bruins on a power play in the first 10 minutes.
And they had 2 in the first period in Game 6, and they scored on both. So I mean,
same thing like, I think, Game 5.
Game 4.
Was it Game 4? Okay,
yeah,
well, regardless. You don't want to get in penalty trouble because you know who's coming out when the Leafs get on the PK is the 3-headed monster. And that's not good because
I feel like they're automatic on the power play against the Leafs, at least in the playoffs.
I totally agree. So it's like you said, it's easier said than done, but have some discipline. It is Game 7 though, so you got to play hard.
Yeah, you do. But again, I think the key for the Leafs winning this game tomorrow night is staying out of the penalty box. I think we can talk about, well, they need to shut down this line and shut down this guy and find a way to beat Tuukka Rask. I mean, that's common sense. Staying out of the penalty box has been this team's Achilles heel. Why did they lose Game 4? Yeah. They had a couple penalties and they got a couple power play goals scored against them. They lost 6-4. One was an empty net goal, right? You go back to even the last game. They scored 4 goals. One was an empty netter. 2 were on the power play. That's 3 of the 4 goals right there. I mean,
and when you're up by an amount, shut them down. You saw in Game 5. Yeah, you're up 2-0, and they score another one, and it got pretty close. Yep. It got extremely close. What was that the game where Marner blocked 2 shots in a row? Was that Game 5?
That was Game 3.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that was Game 3, the first game back in Toronto.
It could have been a tie game at that point.
That's why you put your body on the line. And this team, look, the Leafs can't honestly. And have you noticed with William Nylander, he seems very tentative. He reminds me of Kessel in the sense of he doesn't like to go in the corners, especially in the playoffs, where he knows he's going to get hit. And that's where I'm like, man, you got to get in there. I understand you're not a big guy, but get in there.
No, he's around 6 foot, 190. That's not small, but it's not massive.
But you're seeing guys like Zach Hyman and Mitch Marner and guys just grinding in the corners.
Austin Matthews, too.
Yeah. Well, Austin Matthews is a much bigger guy.
Right, but I'm just saying, in the start of the series, he was more physical.
Nylander?
Yeah.
Yes.
Than right now. But listen, both teams are going to bring their A game, and we got to move around the league here. So, what's your prediction? I'm asking this straight up. I mean, for right now, listen, I'm the first person to doubt the Leafs. I said Boston in 6. I understand that, but listen, we're in Game 7 right now. You go first, my friend. You go first.
I'm going to say, the Leafs aren't going to... Toronto, as you know very well, as we all do, Toronto sports teams do not hesitate in stressing us out like crazy, right? Oh. But I truly believe the Leafs are going to win tomorrow. I truly think that the third time is the charm, and they are finally going to exercise their demons because Mike Babcock is going to have this team ready, as he damn well better. They are going to be ready to go tomorrow. And I think the Bruins, after dominating the Leafs in the last game, might come out a little soft. I don't know. Again, I know it's a Game 7, but again, the Leafs had probably had the mentality of going into last game like a Game 7, and it clearly didn't work. But for the Leafs, I truly believe, as the underdog team, I think they're going to come out tomorrow and win the game. Now, like I said, dramatics. I just got this weird gut feeling it's going to be some overtime garbage. I hope not.
What's the score going to be?
I say 4-3.
Oh, I was just going to say that. 4-3 overtime?
I have a feeling...
Double or single?
Let's just say a single, just to keep it easy on people. But I mean, because I know Leaf fans and I know myself, when I watch a playoff game and that third period is over and it's a tie game, especially in Game 7, I'm going to be stressed. But I just got that weird feeling it's going to be an overtime game and the Leafs are going to pull it out tomorrow.
I agree with you. I think the main factor going into Game 7 is John Tavares. I think it's John Tavares.
That guy, if John Tavares can contain Patrice Bergeron in the face-off circle, because how do they get... Okay, all right, let's back it up a little bit here, all right? Can we back it? Because you brought up a really good point there. Why is their power play so damn good? Not only do they have the weapons of Marchand's sense of hockey and his great passes, and Pasternak's great shot, and his Bergeron being as good as he is, they win the first face-off.
Okay.
They already have the offensive zone time.
I'll explain to you what always happens. Bergeron wins the faceoff. It goes to Krug. It goes to Marchand. It goes back to Krug. Krug blasts it. Rebound. Bergeron scores. I mean, that's 8 times out of 10. That's how it works. Now, you said Toronto 4-3 overtime.
Right.
And I said that the main factor going into Game 7 is John Tavares. Agreed. Because I do believe that.
Because if the Leafs do get on the penalty kill, it's that first face-off.
Yeah.
Because, as you know, when you get a penalty, obviously the first face-off is always in the offensive zone. Yep. You win that draw. You get it down the ice to start. Now they got to try and regroup and get back into your zone. And we've seen the Leafs, once that happens, they're not that bad at blocking the neutral zone.
They're not. Yeah, so I think that's a huge factor, and you just named off all the points I was thinking. I'm going to say Leafs 2-1.
2-1.
2-1 final.
So
no
Freddie's
going to
have a good one.
Freddie's going to have a good one.
Right.
Both goalies are going to have a good one. Not like last year's Game 7, which was, 6-5 or 7-5?
Some stupid thing like that.
Exactly. So I think that it's going to be a tight-knit game. It's going to be 1-1 for the longest time, and then I think in the early third.
Early third.
Mitch Marner.
Wow. So, I actually, hold on. I didn't pick a goal scorer.
Okay, so you said 4-3. Okay, so who's going to get the goal scorer in overtime?
You know what?
No, you can't say the same as me.
No, I'm not.
Frederick Gauthier.
Okay, I don't think if he's out in overtime, there's a problem.
I've just by Zaitsev.
Since by Zaitsev and like Par Lindholm from like down the street or whatever.
Or no, Nick Baton from the press box.
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna give the overtime goal to Jake Gardiner.
Ooh, just for a little bit of salt in the wound there, Boston.
That and the fact that Leaf fans have given this guy garbage for booing him earlier in the season.
Well, you did it to a little bit, but you didn't boo.
I know you don't boo the guy mid-game.
No, but you did give it to him, and I did too, right? Like
we all do, but I mean, when it comes to a big moment, I just feel like Jake Gardiner is going to get the overtime winner to send the Leafs to round 2 and exercise their demons in the Boston Bruins. Really? I don't know why I got the feeling. I mean, you could arguably say Morgan Riley because of the season he's putting together.
Wouldn't that be sweet, though? That would be something else. I mean, hey, hopefully that happens. We can only hope, Leaf fans.
I mean, to be totally honest, as much as I think Gardiner's going to get it, I'd love to see an Austin Matthews celebrate. I mean, his celebrations in playoff goals are fantastic.
They're fired up.
Imagine him winning a series in overtime. I mean, come on.
And
it's I don't know.
And this is going around the league too. Just knowing that if we get past Boston, we're gonna have to face Columbus. Now Columbus is no slouch, but they're no Tampa.
That we'd have home ice in that round.
Yep.
So
that's the main factor. Now let's go around the league because it's been a crazy playoffs. Let's start with
the upset of the century.
Yes, Columbus beating the Tampa Bay Lightning in 4, sweeping them. I said Tampa in 7. You said Columbus in 6. None of us were right. I wasn't expecting.
We talked after Game 2, and Columbus took both games in Tampa. They were going back to Columbus, but we talked about it and said, well, Columbus did this last year to Washington, and then Washington came back and won the next 4, and that was it for Columbus.
Now, going into Game 3, Kucherov wasn't playing.
Right.
But
got suspended 1 game.
It doesn't matter, though. You have so many other weapons other than Kucherov. And is it weird for me to say that Victor Hedman being out or injured or whatever, he's a more valuable player than Kucherov?
Of course he is. He's the cornerstone to that defense core. They have other good weapons on the offensive core. They have Andre Palat. They have Steven Stamkos. They have Braden Point. They had all these guys, right? But on the offensive side of the puck, on the defensive end,
McDonough,
right? But we're talking like Norris Trophy guys.
No,
here,
okay.
You know?
Ryan McDonough is, I think, a bit underrated season right now. He's having a great season, but it's underrated. But I do agree with you there. If you're, let's just say that we're out with Morgan Riley's out. I mean, really, the Leafs are really down for defense. But just going back to Tampa here, I do agree with you. I think that he was playing. I think he didn't play 1 game. He wasn't healthy, though, when he was playing. And I do agree with that. He wasn't healthy at all. And the Columbus Blue Jackets obviously came out to win. And I don't believe they swept them. I still can't believe it.
And it's not just that they swept them. They straight up dominated them.
Yeah, they did.
Game 1 was the only 1-goal game. And Tampa blew a 3-0 lead. Game 2 was a 5-1 whopping. Game 3 was a 3-1 win against Columbus. In a do-or-die game, the Lightning gave up 7 goals.
Listen, in a record-setting season, you lose to the 8th-place team who barely got in. Remember, the Columbus Blue Jackets weren't in a playoff spot in the last week of regular season.
Right.
It was Montreal and Carolina. So I'm just still so shocked. And my question to you: do you change anything?
No.
I don't think you do.
You just swept the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think you're feeling good right now.
Again, I'm going to go back. Look what Chicago did when they got swept against Nashville.
Yep.
They traded away Panarin. They got Brendan Saad. And they traded away Nick Halmerson.
Yep.
That was that, yeah. And then look what happened there. I mean, yes, they had a bounce back year per se, but could you imagine Nick Halmerson on that team with Panarin?
Yeah,
instead of Brendan Saad and Connor Murphy. Really.
That's big, yeah. Panarin is the guy. I mean,
I think that now you just re-signed him, but John Cooper, their coach, I think you may need to get rid of him because apparently the players really do not like practicing under him.
Practicing or playing?
Both. Well, I don't know, but the players aren't fond of him. He's kind of like a John Tortorella. He's a good coach put in the right situation, but I'm not sure. Personally, I don't think that they should do anything major. Maybe the coach, but I still don't think that. I think they should just go back into next season. But I mean, you would think you would have to change something getting swept, no?
But what are you going to change?
I know.
You have a Vezina candidate goalie. I mean, really, he didn't look like it in the playoffs, but he has a Vezina candidate goaltender. You have a Norris Trophy defenseman. You have the top scorer in the league. Hell, three of the top like 20 scorers in the league.
I can't find a weakness.
They don't have one. That's why it was so baffling to see Columbus sweep them like it was easy.
Are these the Washington Capitals when they got Shattenkirk? Because a couple years back, when the Washington Capitals got Kevin Shattenkirk, yeah. I couldn't see a weakness.
But at least they were, a competitive series.
Yeah, at least they made it to the second round.
They won a game.
They won a series.
They won a game.
Yeah,
it's incredible to see this. Man.
Something had to be up. Hedman wasn't healthy. You didn't have Kucherov for a game. Listen, you don't change anything. You go back to the next season if you were smart with the same team. Seriously,
of course you do. I mean, you can't look at this team and say, "Well, we'll be better if we do this." What can make this team better? No. I mean, look, the only problem that they have now is Braden Point's on RFA.
I was just going to say that. I think that they have to sign Braden Point, and for them to do that, they got to trade Killorn or Callahan.
Yeah, but somebody taking Callahan's cap might be a little... Well, Arizona might take it.
That's a draft pick or a player. Here, we'll give you Yanni Gourde and Ryan Callahan, and then we can sign Braden Point. So
there you go. And now let's go to the next series. And speaking of those Washington Capitals you just mentioned, they're obviously Carolina Hurricanes, and it's a 3-2 series.
What was your opinion on the whole Svechnikov-Ovechkin thing?
I didn't really like it. Like I'm an Ovechkin fan, but I did.
Even when someone challenges him?
I mean, look, the kid's 19. Is he 19 or 18? I think he's 19 now.
Well,
either way, in his teens somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, Ovechkin's trying to get some energy in the buildings, and he's trying to fire the guys up, and I get that. But you knocked the kid out.
So he was just. What you're saying is that Ovechkin just should have walked away after Svechnikov cross-checked him a bunch of times.
This is the kid trying to be a pain in the rear end. You just laugh it off and walk away.
Yeah. I agree.
If this is a grown ass man like Alex Killorn or Ryan Callahan, like you mentioned, he'd go at him.
Yeah, but not a kid.
Andrei Svechnikov? No, because that's like Chara flipping Mitch Marner. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was
maybe not to that extent.
Exactly, Mitch Marner would have to cross-check him. But I'm with you, and you're a professional. You're a veteran in this league. You know before you even fought Svechnikov, you can beat the crap out of him. Alex Ovechkin is a massive dude.
Now, let's move ahead now to Warren Fogel's hit on TJ Oshie.
I didn't see that hit.
You did? Okay, well, I'm going to find it now, right for you to watch it.
We're a little bit
It was rough. Oshie's done for the playoffs.
Yeah, I heard that.
So, it was a rough hit.
Warren Foegele, I'm just trying to think about who that is. Obviously on Carolina. Probably a fourth liner. I'm not sure.
Nothing really crazy here.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring this up here. I'm not going to have any volume, obviously. All right, volume is off. There we go. Got a good old commercial on there.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Oh, look at that. All right, here it is here. So, I mean...
Oh, what? That was weird.
Rough angle. But, yeah, he was...
It looks like he just fell.
Yeah, well, he didn't.
Well, let's just see it again. Yeah, so he's out. Okay. Ovechkin's chirping.
Yeah. There you go. See the little push from behind.
Yeah, it's weird because he shouldn't have done it when he was skating, but I'm surprised that Oshie... Listen, Oshie was trying... He was probably trying to draw a penalty, and he lost his footing, and... No, because it doesn't even look like he touched him.
He did. He put two hands on the stick, and he gave him the shot from behind. You don't do that when there's distance between the Oshie and the boards. You don't do that.
I don't think he meant to do that maliciously.
Whether you meant to do it or not.
I don't know if he got or suspended.
Did Kadri mean to cross-check Busk in the face?
Yes.
Or maybe he went for the shoulders, or maybe went for up here.
He went for the head, dude. But with this, I don't think Warren Foegele was like, okay, if I'm going to hit him in the thigh, he's going to go down.
He didn't hit him in the thigh. It was right in the numbers.
Oh, it wasn't
right in the numbers, and Oshie goes head first into the boards.
Yeah.
What do you expect's going to happen in that situation?
He isn't a repeat offender.
No, but I'm going to give him a game.
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
He didn't get anything for it.
I think he should have got a game.
I think he should have gotten something too. He did not. Oshie is done for the playoffs. That is a huge blow to the Capitals. I think in the next game, actually, they win 6-0 over Carolina without Oshie.
So what's your prediction on this? I do think Carolina's going to come back and win.
It wouldn't surprise me if it goes 7, but I think Washington's going to win it in 7.
Could you imagine an Islanders-Carolina series?
No.
I mean, neither.
No, I can't.
That's really greasy.
That is real. But hey, Leaf fans, if you want to stay positive, if Carolina makes it on, that's home ice for the Leafs if we end up facing them at some
point. Can you believe that? Could you imagine that? I mean, it could happen.
Leafs and Hurricanes, or imagine Columbus and Carolina Eastern.
No, that's fan bases like that.
Yeah, that's brutal, man.
No, but the teams are fun to watch.
What are your thoughts on this series?
I think that Washington's going to clear it out. I mean, I would love to see Carolina beat Washington, but I think it's going to go to 7 as well. I think that Carolina has a really nice home crowd now after that storm surge thing they're doing.
Yeah.
Which they're not doing in the playoffs, but I think that it's going to go to 7, but I think you're right. Washington's going to take it.
Now let's go to the Islanders, and they swept Pittsburgh.
I wasn't expecting that.
I didn't expect a sweep.
I said Pittsburgh in 7.
What did I say? I don't even remember what I said at this point, but I had a feeling I had Pittsburgh, and the Islanders. I mean, they outplayed the Penguins.
You never bet against Sidney Crosby, and we didn't. And then he proved us wrong. So maybe next time we'll bet against him, and then he'll pull out the victory. But I mean, this team is great. This team can go all the way. Whoever they're facing,
they have a good goalie now. They have a solid goaltender.
To be honest with you, whoever they're facing in round 2, I think they're going to demolish them.
It's either Washington or Carolina.
But I think that they're going to demolish them. Robin Lehner is looking like a Vezina candidate.
He really is.
And he exercised his demons because he had, some mental health issues, which is fine. Everyone goes through that. And he's finding a new home on Long Island.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, the team is... Look, if Washington faces them, Washington has home ice, and if Carolina faces them...
And Matt Barzal...
Oh, that kid's fantastic, man.
Great player.
That kid is fantastic. And who traded that draft pick? How did that all work out?
Oh, the Edmonton Oilers again. Taking a back seat once again, Edmonton.
That team, man. That team is stupid.
Why don't they hire Wayne Gretzky as their new head coach?
Why not? They'll bring some fans into the crowd. Right. They all should be fired up to watch the game.
And then Mark Messier as their GM, and maybe throw in Yari Curry there. And Glenn Anderson and all the boys. Why not?
Yeah. And Billy Smith.
Was he a goal?
Was he a goal
for the others?
I think maybe the Islanders. Anyway,
we're talking straight Edmonton. If you're not, if you weren't a part of the Cup dynasty, and for the Edmonton Oilers, you can't be a part of this organization.
Well, we're going to move on to the next team into the Western Conference, and the Dallas Stars, the wild card team, are beating the Nashville Predators 3-2, and they look to close out the series there tonight in Dallas.
This was funny because
this is the same type of situation the Leafs were in. Now, obviously, 2 different seeds, obviously, but Dallas has the 3-2 lead, the underdog in the series. Now they have this Game 6 at home to close it out because you don't want to go back to Game 7 in Nashville.
I slept on Dallas.
I think all of us did.
Well, I was expecting them to get crushed, but that's not the case. Now,
Ben Bishop's been fantastic for them.
Ben Bishop's been fantastic, and their first line with Radulov, Ben, and Sagan.
So that I think their owner is quite quiet now after his comments earlier in the season.
We have heard about that. And Matt Zuccarello has played a factor.
And good for him. I mean, having that injury later in the season, right after the trade went down.
Now, what about... Yeah, exactly. But what about Nashville's acquirees from the trade deadline?
Wayne Simmons, where's he?
Brian Boyle?
They haven't been anything. Wayne Simmons has had an awful season. Then he gets traded to Nashville. Doesn't do anything more. He's done less than Nashville than he has in Philly. Right. So, and he had an awful year in Philly. Do you think Nashville's going to come back, or do you think Dallas might end it tonight? I truly believe Dallas might end this game in 6 tonight. I still think it's Nashville in 7, but that's just me. Well, we're gonna have to wait and see how it all plays out. Winnipeg's gone. The Jets are gone. Patrick Laine, what are you saying there, bud? He's golfing in Finland. Does he even golf? He probably play video games in Finland. Probably playing Fortnite, like with the Vancouver Canucks, right? Do you remember when he said that? That's stupid. And then he has a terrible season. Well, you should know. Yeah, I should know. I had him in fantasy. It was a terrible year. Anyways, they lose the 4-2 series to the St. Louis Blues. Now, this series was odd. Through the first 4 games of the series, no home team had won. No. The St. Louis Blues win both games in Winnipeg to start the series. We're all like, wow, this might be a cakewalk. And the Jets win both in St. Louis, and we're like, wow, this series is all over the place now. But then in Game 5, St. Louis wins in Winnipeg again. We're like, well, the same thing goes. Here we go again. But then St. Louis wins 3-2 at home to close it out in 6 games.
Do you know who assisted on that game winner? No, not that one, but the one in overtime. I think it was game 5?
Game 4.
Tyler Bozak. Great pass.
That was game 1, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Tyler Bozak scored the game winner.
No. He scored, but he assisted on a goal that win. No. It was who was that guy you had in fantasy?
Jaden Schwartz.
Jaden Schwartz's goal.
He kind of had a hat trick in the last game, didn't he?
Yeah. No, it was game 5. I swear to God.
He had a hat trick in the last game.
Right, and then he scored. Not that one. It was 7 seconds left, and then St. Louis won. It was tie game, and then it was 7 seconds left in the third. Yeah, that was it. 15 seconds left in the third, and then Bozak with a no-look pass.
And that was in Winnipeg too. That's tough for the Jets.
I'm surprised. I thought Winnipeg was going to come out.
Now a lot of those games in that series were really tight games
because of both great goalies. Now, is it? Do you think that, however far St. Louis gets, Jordan Binghamton should be nominated for the Calder?
I mean, I can't see why not.
But he's not going to win it.
He has put this team in the playoff spot. He took this team from the dumpster. They were terrible.
Now we all know how goaltenders work, and we can laugh at this 3 years down the road and say, "Oh, he was nominated. That guy, he's in the ECHL now."
Yeah, but you got to look at guys like Matt Murray, though. Another example.
Matt Murray, Cam Ward did it. Who else did it?
Now you've seen some on the other spectrum of things, like an Andrew Hammond, the Hamburglar, that happened for 1 year and he was gone, pretty much.
You could say Cam Ward a little bit. I mean, he did win a cup.
Yeah, but he's had a good career though. He's had a pretty good career.
A good career, yeah. Right? But nothing more.
You can only have an all right career playing in flipping Carolina for so long. And for the first time in NHL history, the number 1 seed in each conference loses to the number 8 seed.
Crazy.
The Colorado Avalanche beat the Calgary Flames 4-1 in the series.
Now I said Calgary in 7. You said Calgary in 5.
Well, I mean, Calgary's the much better team. It's what we expected.
And it's funny because we talked
after game 1, and it was a 4-0 whomping for Calgary. So that's why I'm like, oh, they're going to crush them in 5.
Yeah. We thought that the goalies would be the issue going into the series, and that wasn't the case. It was goal scoring for Calgary. Simple as that. Their top line, Gaudreau, Monahan, they couldn't get nothing done. Their best player on the ice, forwards-wise, was Sam Bennett.
And the most goals they scored was in game 1 when they won 4-0. The rest of the series, they scored no more than 2. But then you also say that the defense for Calgary wasn't the greatest because they allowed 3 goals, the overtime winner, 6, 3, and then 5.
Listen, I think exactly. Listen, I think Mike Smith had a great playoffs.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
He was one of the only reasons why Calgary was in game 4.
Yeah.
I think the shots were like stupid.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't it 52-37, and they lost 3-2.
Yeah. So you can't blame Mike Smith. I think they're going to roll with him next year too. But it's just another blunder for Calgary. It's like, yes, you had a great offseason last year acquiring getting rid of Dougie Hamilton and acquiring Noah Hannafin and Lindholm.
Yeah,
Lindholm. But it just.
But I mean, Sean Monahan had 2 points in the 5 games. You look at Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. He had 1 assist. He didn't score a goal in the series. Those are your 2 guys.
Go to Chuck.
Oh, Matthew Tkachuk. He had an assist in that game there. He had 2 goals in the first game of the series, but then the rest of the way had 1 assist.
And they won 4-0 in that first game, so there you go.
Yeah.
I'm just speechless when it comes to Calgary. Now, the most exciting series, I think, and the only series other than our series that's going to Game 7 is the Sharks and the Golden Knights. Now, I had the Golden Knights going in 7, and I think you had the Sharks?
I think I had the Sharks going in either 6 or 7. I'm not sure. I think I said 6 because they were going to be at home.
Listen, I
think I said 7 because they're at home.
This is probably one of the most physical series. I watched Game 5.
It's fun to watch.
My God. Oh. Joe Thornton.
What do you think the Bruins are physical? These guys are crazy.
Well, these guys hate each other. And that headshot on who was it? Thomas Nosek?
Something like that.
From Joe Thornton was crazy. So it's a physical series, and for a team that hasn't been around that long, San Jose hates them.
And you got to remember, Vegas was up in the series 3-1.
Yeah.
And then in Game 5, San Jose goes back home, wins 5-2. And then last night, was it in double overtime?
Yes. Thomas Hertl roofed it.
He didn't roof it. He beat Marc-Andre Fleury under the blocker, no screen. I mean, man, that's a shot that he probably wants
and
back.
And that save he made in the third period, Fleury, I don't know it was on who, but saved the game. So I mean, but really couldn't save the game. So who do you have in Game 7?
I have San Jose. They're at home. They have all the momentum right now. They're feeling good.
I got Vegas just because they're a fast team. They got so many good weapons. So I say Vegas. That first line for Vegas is really good playoffs. Pacioretty, Stone, and there's one more dude. Pacioretty, Stone. Oh, wait, you got to look this up.
Oh, my goodness.
Sorry, I'm stubborn like that.
And I can hear that. Fuck. I mean, it's where are we here? I don't even know where the Vegas. There they are. There's Vegas. I'm looking for one guy. Why are you so like?
I don't know. Well, you're
Ryan Carpenter. What?
It's David Clarkson, isn't it?
William Karlsson.
I thought it was somebody else.
Mark Schultz.
Yeah, you know what? It might be Clarkson or Carlson.
My God, you are on a roll right now.
I am.
You're getting your names all over the place.
So let's switch over to basketball. Again, we're rushing through this because we don't got much time here. Wow. Where do you start with Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam?
Playoff Kawhi is legit. This guy is fantastic. I mean, you watch him dominate.
We knew
yesterday.
that.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it.
We have now seen it, and boy, oh boy, we went down to the Square for Game 1, and that was a complete gong show, and that's the only game they lost. So I don't go down there since, and they win 3 straight. They won. And the thing is that the defense for the Toronto Raptors. You look at the games 2, 3, and 4. They're not allowed more than 95 points.
Yeah, it's the defense, and even on both ends, it's been tight, man. It's been way tighter than I expected. I mean, yeah, it's 3-1, but we barely won Game 3. And
right, but Game 2, you won by almost 30.
Right.
Game 2, you won by 17.
Game 3, you mean? Oh, no, Game 4, you mean?
Game 4, yeah. So Game 4, you won by, what is that? 15, 22. And you win by, almost 30 in Game 2.
I mean, the Orlando Magic, they're still a good team, so maybe I'm a little bit underestimating them.
But I think the Raptors are going to take it in Game 5.
And I think at
tomorrow.
times, Pascal Siakam is the best player on the Raptors roster. Now, I know you were surprised when I said that, but it's true. He could take over a game like Kawhi Leonard, but I think there's points where he's better than Kawhi.
The reason I say Kawhi Leonard's better is because he's better on the two-way side of the ball.
For now.
Well, for
Listen,
now,
you have to look at age.
Agreed.
Where Kawhi Leonard's 28.
We're talking right now, though. We're talking about this playoffs. We're talking about right now, and Kawhi Leonard is the better player for the Toronto Raptors right now. Look, Pascal Siakam's the most improved player, no question about it. And
if anybody says otherwise, then
it's because they don't watch the Toronto Raptors. And
who's even in the running other than him?
It's D'Angelo Russell. But I can't look at D'Angelo Russell and say he's the most improved player because he was good last year.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam.
Didn't he average like 16 a game last year or something?
Pascal Siakam averaged, 7?
Yeah, maybe. Off the bench. They throw him in the starting role this year. He's averaging, 17 a game.
Yeah.
And he's shooting 50%. And he's dynamite in the playoffs. And in Brooklyn, look, I looked up, if you guys watched the video yesterday for the Toronto Raptors, you'll know I mentioned D'Angelo Russell has not shot over 45% from the field in the playoffs so far. He shot 44% once, and the rest is 40s and 30.
Do you think that's a good defense of the 76ers?
His season shooting percentage is only 43% from the field.
Oh, so
Pascal shoots over 53% from the field.
So it's not like
season.
It's just the playoffs. It's during the
yeah. Pascal is the better player.
Right.
That's why there's no question about it.
So you wouldn't take Pascal for D'Angelo?
No.
Really?
No.
And I just like him because he's humble. And he was a second rounder? Or no, he's late first.
Very late first rounder, like 27th overall or something.
If there's one thing that you would want to improve on with the Raptors, now I know there's a lot in Game 1. I think we can both agree on that. The performance of Kyle Lowry. Now, there's been many times over the past couple years where he hasn't performed in the playoffs, and we know this. Game 1 was an eye-opener, even for Kyle Lowry standards.
But then in Game 2, he came out and was fantastic.
Right, but you don't want someone like that in the playoffs. You want somebody who's consistent, not a streaky player.
Right, but Kyle Lowry rarely ever gets 0-point nights. You rarely ever see that
Not
from
0,
Kyle.
but I'm talking about less than 10 points a night. Listen,
but for Kyle Lowry, I'm okay with him getting 9 points a night because he'll give you 9 assists. He'll give you 10 assists. He'll take charges. He'll get steals. You look at last night. He only had 9 points, but he had 9 assists. He only shot 3 of 8. He was 2 of 5 from 3. Do the numbers. That's over 40% from 3.
Right, but listen, he's your starting point guard.
He had 4 steals as well.
But listen, he's your starting point guard, and those are all-star numbers. He's an all-star, correct? Those aren't all-star numbers. They're contributing numbers off a guy from the bench.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam didn't make the all-star team. The whole all-star thing is a complete mess.
Okay, no, but all I'm saying is that, so you would be happy if he doesn't produce like an all-star should. Because I wouldn't.
Right. I'm totally okay with that because he is not our number one scoring option. He's not our number two scoring option.
But you have to realize, if we're quote-unquote an NBA Finals championship team, you need more than 2 scoring options. You need 3, 4 great scoring options, and Kyle Lowry needs to step up. You can't be streaky like this going off in the playoffs. If you want to win a championship, and if we think we're this dominant team, yes, we got Kawhi, yes, we got Pascal, you need 3 or 4 great scoring options, and Kyle Lowry right now is not a good scoring option.
I have no problem with what Kyle Lowry is doing.
Then if you have no problem with Kyle Lowry, and we need him, and he doesn't perform, then you're going to have a problem. Because listen,
well, yeah, if he doesn't perform, then we're going to have a problem. Absolutely, but he's not having an issue. Other than game 1, he hasn't been bad.
No, but he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good, but he hasn't been bad. Other than those,
because you have 2 other guys.
Yes, I know you do, but you're not going to have those 2 guys performing like they are every single game in every single series.
That's why you have guys like Norman Powell who threw up 16 last night.
I would want Kyle Lowry to perform better than Norman Powell. That's just simple as that.
I'd rather Kyle Lowry move the ball than take shots.
Well, no.
Sorry, that's my opinion.
Yes, but I think he should move the ball and take shots. He's a quote-unquote all-star. He's this great starting point guard. Why are you expecting somebody like Norman Powell or Fred VanVleet to step up?
Because you need more than just a starting unit. You need guys off the bench to win. You don't need 5 guys to all average over 10 a game and to all do this, to all do that. Look, Danny Green he could even be the 3rd scoring option for the Toronto Raptors.
Right, but you need your all-stars to play like all-stars, and Kyle Lowry is not performing like an all-star.
Evan, Zaza Pachulia made a damn all-star team. Does he play like an all-star? No, he doesn't.
Multiple.
I don't care if it's a multiple all-star game. You know what? I really don't. Because Kyle Lowry is doing everything he can for this team.
On paper...
Statistics. I hate the word statistics.
Okay.
You watch the game, he plays amazing.
Okay, well, anyone bases off statistics. Anybody would.
Yeah, but people who don't watch the game don't realize how big of a part he actually is.
Maybe this is the reason why the Raptors have not made it to the NBA Finals.
No, because the reason why is because DeMar DeRozan was not good in the playoffs. He's never been really good in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry is your next scoring option. Okay. So if DeMar's not going, Kyle has to score.
Okay.
And he hasn't.
Okay, so then if Pascal Siakam isn't doing anything,
but he has.
And Leonard isn't doing anything, because you know that in the playoffs that they're going to get cold, it's normal. It's normal for anyone to get cold. So you're saying that Kyle Lowry, if he's put in that spot where he has to step up, he won't because...
I'm not saying he won't.
No, well, he did it when DeMar DeRozan...
Look at Game 2. He put up in Game 1, he threw up 0. He didn't get anything. Game 2, he fired up 22. No. He can do it. Okay. I'm not saying he's going to do it every single night.
But when DeMar DeRozan didn't step up, Lowry did it.
Quite often.
Lowry didn't.
But the problem was, it was quite often.
Okay.
With Kawhi Leonard... It's not going to happen quite often.
No, it's not.
And if that doesn't happen for Kawhi Leonard, as we saw in Game 3 of this series, you have Pascal Siakam dominate.
Right.
He had 30 and 11 in Game 3.
But what I'm saying is that if those 2 players, like you said, it would be quite rare, but it's going to happen. Against a good team, good teams are going to shut down Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard.
Nobody's been able to do it this year. No one.
No, in the playoffs. We've only seen from the Orlando Magic. If you face the Milwaukee Bucks, if you face the Boston Celtics, they're going to shut down Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam.
They're not going to shut them
down. Well, they're
going
to try to, and
right,
they
of course.
And they might do it. You can't say they won't.
And the Raptors, well, okay, all right, talk about the Boston Celtics. Who's their scoring option after Kyrie Irving? Jason Tatum?
No, but
he's not having a great year.
No, but what I'm saying is that I'm not comparing scoring options with Boston Celtics. I'm comparing them defending our scoring options. And all I'm saying is that with Kyle Lowry, he has played well. I'm not saying he's not, but listen, he needs to stop being streaky, and he needs to play like this is the last time he's going to be in a Raptors uniform, because this is the most important, like Charles Barkley said, this is the most important playoff run for the Raptors in their history.
Oh, no question.
So Kyle Lowry needs to step up, and he can't be throwing up these 0 games. I know he doesn't do it often, but
you won't see another 0 game this playoffs.
Can I coach you on that?
Yeah.
You will not see another 0 game from Kyle Lowry.
Right.
Would you see a less 5 points? 5?
You might, but you're never going to see a 0.
Will you see a 5
in Game 1, if he makes 1 shot, 1-3 out of the 6 he took, you tie that game and go into overtime.
Would you? Okay, well, Would you see a 10-point game from Kawhi? No. Would you see a 10-point game
not.
from Pascal?
You don't see Pascal and Kawhi Leonard taking how many shots did Kyle Lowry take in game 2? Or sorry, in game what game is this? Game 4. How many, he took 8 shots. Kawhi took 20.
James.
Siakam took 14. You're not going to see those guys shoot 8 shots.
Who's the leader on this team? Lowry.
On the court, Kyle Lowry.
Okay, well then you can only do so much with assist and all these stats.
How do you get really good looks in basketball? You move the ball.
Right, but
who's one of the best? What are the Raptors? What have they been the best at since the Marc Gasol trade? Moving the ball.
Right.
That is credits to Mark. Look, Marcus only had 2.6 rebounds and 2 assists on 1 of 3 shooting. He didn't take a 3. He didn't get to the free throw line at all.
Right.
And those 2 points, I think, were in the first quarter.
But as a team and as a leader, you have to step up all through, like points wise.
There are a lot of leaders on this team.
No, but if you were to pick one, it would be Kyle Lowry. And
right
now,
course.
okay, and right now you want to see an all-around game from him, and you don't see that. Yes, he's putting up good assists, but I'm sorry,
he's not taking the shots. If Kyle Lowry's sitting here taking 12 shots a night, yeah, he'll give you double-digit performances every single night.
Well, game 1 was game 1, and how many shots did he take? And that's
7.
Okay, and that's quite rare because he got 0 of 7.
You'll like never see that from Kyle Lowry.
No,
you will never see that.
But
he only took 8 shots last night. He was 3 of 8. He was 2 of 5 from 3. He had 4 steals in the game.
So he's
a plus 26 on the floor.
So go to his actual just stats here throughout the first 4 games.
Yeah, sure. No problem. Where are we here? Kyle Lowry. There we go. So he had nothing there. All right. He had 22, 12,
and 9.
And
So we've seen that. Okay.
And by the way, double in game 3 and 9 assists in game 4.
9 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists,
and 4 steals.
And 4 steals. Yeah. I mean, he does do that, but I think that if the Raptors want to compete with all these super teams in the league, you need more than 2 scoring options, and you can't look to Norman Powell.
They don't have just 2 scoring. Look, if they need Kyle Lowry to take some shots, he will take shots.
Will he get them in? I know he'll shoot
Danny
them.
Green will do the same thing.
It's about there's a difference between taking shots and getting them in.
You compare this team to Raptors teams prior. They have a million times better depth than they have over the years. Are you telling me a guy like CJ Miles and DeLon Wright coming off the bench are better than Powell and Ibaka coming off the bench? Hell no.
Well, you're comparing the bench mob to now.
I'm talking about guys who can impact the game. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
We're talking about Kyle Lowry being the third scoring option, being that guy. Look, if Kyle Lowry's going to move the ball and let that starting unit, the plus minus of the starting units. I mean, look, that's not just Kyle Lowry, but it's the way the ball moves. It's the way the team plays. Kyle Lowry's a great time defensive player. He's a really good ball mover. He's an amazing. He takes charges like it's his lunch.
Listen, bottom line is that yes, I do agree he's a team player, whatever, but he needs to show it more than yes. Taking charges is one thing. Doing all these small things are another thing. But if those 2 guys above you, Pascal and Kawhi, are struggling, listen, buddy. You need to step up. I'm not looking to Norman Powell.
They're struggling,
I'm not looking to any of these guys on the bench that are good players still. I'm looking to you. I'm looking to Kyle Lowry, who is a veteran on this in the NBA, and I'm tired of babying him because I think we're doing that a little bit now. Stats are stats. Steals are steals. Assists are assists. Show me points-wise what you can really do.
They're just stats. You just said it yourself. They're just stats.
No. Points. Show me points-wise. If you're
Charges don't get totaled on the stats sheet. Kyle Lowry is a small guy, yet he can guard Nikola Vukovic and make everything tough. Why? Because he's an amazing defender. Those don't come up on stats.
If you want the Raptors to, I agree with you, but if you want the Raptors to win an NBA championship, you need his performance to show up on the stats.
To win an NBA championship in this day and age against the Golden State Warriors, you absolutely do.
Okay, so then all I'm saying is that, and we'll have the conversation here, Kyle Lowry should not and will not get 0 points anymore in the playoffs and to be streaky. Now, I do believe he still will be a streaky player, but I think that game 1 is total nonsense. He's going to come back.
He might be streaky when it comes to shooting the ball, but in every other aspect of the game, he will always be good.
Right, but for him, he cannot afford to be streaky when he shoots the ball. You cannot, if you're looking for the Raptors to win a championship, you need everybody on their A game. Pascal has been on his A game. Yeah. Kawhi's been on his A game. Lowry, no. He needs to be on his A game. I've been impressed with him. I'm not saying he's a total scrub because I know he's not.
He's been fantastic in the playoffs. I've loved
right, but he needs to be on his A game when it comes to everything about him. What we know what he can do. Throw up 22 points. Throw up 10 assists.
What about Marc Gasol?
Do that. Well, him too. I'm not letting him off the hook too. Right? It's a small sample size against the Orlando Magic, and I guarantee you that the Raptors aren't putting in 100% versus this team.
Of course not.
Because it's against the first place team, and you don't want to be injured. And if you try too hard, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there you go. So, I mean, I think this series is going to be over. Are we playing tonight?
Tomorrow at home.
Okay, so
Game 5. I think it's going to be done tomorrow.
No, me too. And we're looking to the winner of 76ers in Brooklyn. Which
we have a feeling who that's going to be, because Game 6 is going to be... Game 5 is going to be in Philly.
You know what? These series haven't been close at all. I mean, it is the first round.
You kind of expected with the Eastern
Conference, I expected one upset, but nothing. I mean, you got so let's just start off here. You got the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to sweep the Detroit Pistons. Blake Griffin's hurt. You can tell. It's not looking pretty.
It's over in 4. I'm sorry.
I completely agree with you. And then you got the Raptors and the Orlando Magic. Raptors in 5.
Yep.
And then you got the 76ers versus
I think
Brooklyn.
that was our one upset, and really it hasn't.
I got Brooklyn taking it to 6. I think they're going to win one game. Are they playing at home? Yes, they are.
In Philly.
Oh, yeah.
Game 4. Yeah. 2 on the home, 2 on the road, then back
correct.
Home for Philly.
You know what? I think they're going to take one more in Philly.
I think Philly's just going to end it now in Game 5. I think it's just going to be it. Yep.
And then obviously
Boston swept Indiana.
I expected that.
And were they even close? For the most part, they were in the 10-point range. So.
Even at home, I mean, I'm surprised they even made the playoffs. I think honestly, if you would have thrown in who didn't make the Heat or Charlotte, they would put up more of a fight than Indiana.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
And you look this second round for the NBA, excuse me, in the Eastern Conference, that's going to be real freaky. I mean, you look at Milwaukee against Boston. I mean, that's going to be a dogfight of a series. You have a team who's been there, done that, but hasn't put a great regular season together and doesn't have home court in Boston. But then you have Milwaukee, the juggernaut team this year in the regular season. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. And round 2, you're probably going to have Toronto and Philly.
That's awesome. Now, if that were to happen, who would you take? I mean, it hasn't happened yet. Because, I mean, next podcast...
Raptors have home court. They're one of the best teams in home court. And the Raptors were one of the best teams in the league when it comes to being on the road as well. So I say Raptors... How am I?
But, okay, you know what? Don't even say it because our next podcast is going to be on the Thursday, so we're going to know. So let's just leave it at that. So, go on what you're going to say.
That series does scare me a little bit.
Against
because of the officiating.
The 76ers?
Yeah.
No,
hear me out.
We don't know if we're going to be facing them yet.
Okay, well, assuming it will happen.
Okay.
The officials scare me for this reason. Going into last night's ball game, there's 16 teams in the playoffs, correct?
Yeah.
The Raptors were 16th in free throw attempts. Yeah, they're one of the teams that drive to the bucket the most.
So
why is that?
What?
And Philly, so Raptors, I think they averaged like 15 to 18 a night or whatever it is. Philly, first at getting to the free throw line.
Now
30 attempts a night.
I did say.
Now you could say it's because it gets to Brooklyn and they're not the greatest team defensively, and the Raptors are a much better defensive team, so maybe that number will come down. But that's a number I look at, and we've seen the referees against.
I don't think it's going to be a factor. I think that the referees are going to play it even. They're going to play it safe.
They better.
I saw Brothers was coaching.
Tony Brothers. He's an idiot.
So he does have a brother, because who's the other guy that was reffing it?
Yeah, Tony Jr.
Are you serious?
No, it's actually Tony Brothers.
Okay,
there's only one brother.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. There's only one Tony Brothers. There we go.
So there's only one brothers. So there's no like Ben Brothers or something.
No. We're there's no Ben Brothers at all. All right, so, let's go on to the Western Conference here, and I mean, look.
So just for Raptors versus 76ers, Boston versus Milwaukee.
That's what it'll probably end up being.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's pretty much over.
And then you go to the second round, and other than a crazy collapse by Golden State against the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 2, the Golden State Warriors have straight up dominated that series, and they're now up 3-1. I think the Clippers came back from like 20-something odd points against the Golden State Warriors.
I think we said Clippers we said Golden State in 5 and 6. I think
I might have even said 4 to be honest.
Yeah, you did say 4. I think I said 5 to be honest with you. So hey, it could happen, but I'm not surprised at all.
Denver and San Antonio. It's a 2-2 series right now. It's been back and forth really. San Antonio won Game 1. Denver won Game 2. San Antonio won Game 3.
You know what?
and Denver won Game 4.
This is my upset.
It's a split.
San Antonio in 7.
You think DeMar DeRozan is going to move on to round 2?
Listen, this Denver Nuggets team has no playoff experience.
No, of course not.
Jokic is good. Murray's good. But, I mean, no. San Antonio with Greg Popovich, and they have so much playoff experience. Even DeMar. Spurs in 7. Spurs and you know what? Spurs in 7.
Game 5 goes tomorrow night at 9:30. I'm gonna go Denver in 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Denver in 7. The talent is better, and that's what I'm gonna ride on is their talent base. Then you got Portland beating Oklahoma City 3-1 right now, and they're going back to Portland for Game 5. Portland won the first 2 games of the series. And you know the whole Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook fiasco that's going on right now. It's pretty crazy, actually. And then Portland demolishing Oklahoma City by 13 at home in a big game for OKC.
I'm a fan of OKC, but, I mean, Portland, look, they got CJ McCollum there. They got Damian Lillard.
That guy is something else in the playoffs, man. He's got ice. No. I think Portland's going to win this either in 5 or in 7. I think they're going to win it at home, whether it be in 5 or Game 7. I think if OKC gets back to their own barn, I think they're going to win one. But
I think Westbrook is still underrated as a player.
I think he's overrated as a player.
No, he's not. He averaged how many triple doubles did he average ever since? Right. There's no way.
Hold on, let me.
Not.
Let me just go to something real quick. This is his season numbers. What's his shooting percentage? 42%.
But
not even 30%. I understand. This guy pads stats like crazy.
But you have to look.
How do you do in a playoff game? We had 5 of 21 shooting.
No,
that is awful.
But I'm saying in the regular season, yes, the regular season is the regular season, but he's the first player, since Elgin Baylor to record how many triple doubles in a row?
That's nice.
What was it? Oh, no.
That was last year.
No, this was this year.
Okay, well,
this was this year.
Was it last year?
No, it was this year. He averaged, I think, it was 10 games straight or something. It was ridiculous. How many triple doubles did he average? He was crazy. And to be honest with you, I think Paul George is a little bit overrated.
You think Paul George is overrated, even though he had 32 and 10 in the last game?
Yeah, but look at his other stats throughout the playoffs. I mean, I didn't even see. I haven't heard much of him.
27, and 26.
I don't know though. It's weird. Maybe not.
Russell Westbrook has not been good in the playoffs. Sorry.
You know what? I'm going to say OKC in 7. I think that they're going to come back.
Come back and win in Portland?
I think so.
Wow.
Who would Portland face in the second round?
I don't know how that would
Denver?
all work. There would be.
Well, just go to.
So they would play Golden State, I think.
No, they would play.
Yes, it would be. Because we're playing Philly. Oh, no, sorry, yes.
No, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It would be Denver and San Antonio. That would be a good one.
That would be a good
Pop
one.
Against one of those teams? Woo, baby.
I'm going to say OKC's going to win.
I think Portland in 5 or 7.
Okay.
Then you get this one, and I thought it was going to be a little bit closer than it actually is. The Houston Rockets are cleaning the clock of the Utah Jazz. They're up 3-0 in the series.
Mitchell's not been
not
good.
Even close in the first 2 games in Houston. 122-90 and 118-98.
Listen, I think the Utah Jazz is a great team, but at the end of the day, I think they just ran into the wrong team in the Houston Rockets. I think Houston is going to get to the NBA Finals.
You think they're going to beat Golden State and go to the finals?
Listen, Golden State is nothing. They're out with DeMarcus Cousins now. And
whatever. Boogie.
No, I don't know. I think that, you know what, call me crazy, but I think that with James Harden, with Chris Paul, and Clint Capella, and all the boys there, I think that they're going to exercise their demons like they didn't do last year. But let's just stick with the series here. I think that the Utah Jazz are a good team. They just ran into the wrong team at the wrong time. Houston.
Game 4 goes tonight, and it could be a sweep tonight.
I'm going to say it's a sweep.
It's going to be in Utah tonight.
I'm going to say it's a sweep.
I say it's going to be 5. I think Utah's going to take 1, and I think they're going to go back to Houston and win in 5.
Yeah. So it's going to be Houston versus Golden State. Oh.
Look at
wow.
That.
Same
in conference semifinals, not a conference finals.
No, last year it was the finals.
Right, but this year.
Yeah.
It'll be in the conference finals, which would be really, really interesting to watch. So I think that's going to wrap it up for basketball.
Yeah, we're kind of tight for time here, guys. Sorry about that, but we went through everything.
We're going to go to baseball now, and there's been a whole lot of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. talk
and a
lately,
whole lot of curses when it comes to the Blue Jays pitchers.
God. I mean,
so let's just start with the bad first. Aaron Sanchez with a nail issue,
broken nail. Now Charlie Montoyo doesn't expect him to miss a start, which is quite interesting actually. It's
weird,
but I'm hoping he's not. I'm hoping he's not rushing him back, and then it'll turn worse.
I was just going to say that,
but maybe it's not as bad as we think. Maybe he saw a broken nail. He's like, I'm not dealing with this shit. Get me out of this fucking. Get me out of this game, please. Right? Maybe he was thinking that, and he comes out of the ball game. The Jays do end up winning the game. They sweep the Oakland A's. The Jays have won 6 of the last 7 games.
Yeah.
They win the 4-game series against Minnesota 3-1. They sweep the Oakland A's. The offense is on fire.
So, question for you. We talked last year about Sanchez playing hurt and Stroman playing hurt.
Right.
What are we doing this year?
Well, I think for Charlie Montoyo, I don't think he would be a guy to rush them out there.
Well,
look, I don't know how bad it is.
Okay, so only time will tell if he rushed him or if he didn't.
If he does make his next start and nothing phases him and he's fine, then it wasn't an issue.
But if he's terrible, then we know the reason why he's terrible.
If he's terrible and he comes out early, yeah, that's a problem. But now to more news of a guy who won't be playing the rest of the year for the Toronto Blue Jays and Matt Shoemaker.
One of our off-season inquiries.
You know what? I feel so bad for this guy. He only had 7 starts last year. He started the year, got injured. He pitched a few games at the end of last season. It was just a rough year. Starts a new, he played with the Angels with his entire career. Then he comes with the Blue Jays on a 1-year deal. Has an amazing start to the year. 3-0, ERA under 2. He's feeling great. Gets in a rundown and feels something go in his I think it was his knee. Clearly he's not happy. He's grabbing his head like, you gotta be kidding me. Then when he's on the ground, he hits the ground hard, probably yells a few things as well.
Yeah.
We're all thinking, well, he's just hurt and he's angry. He expects to be out long term.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those expectations came true. Torn ACL, done for the season. And it is so sad to watch this guy do this.
It is. And the guy, and just the Blue Jays curse with pitchers in general. We can't keep anyone healthy.
I don't know if you saw the interview they had with him after the finale in Oakland. It was kind of like they got the results and they had an interview with him about the results and he was in tears. He was absolutely in tears.
Well, a guy that barely pitched last year, fresh start, in Canada, with a brand new team, willing to at least get a payday because he would want to prove his worth on a 1-year deal and then he'll get paid from another team or even the Blue Jays in the offseason. He can't do that. Another team is going to give him the same contract as the Jays at the end of the year.
Yeah. Know what? The weird thing is I want to see where the Blue Jays are at the end of the season.
How old's Matt Shoemaker?
I want to say he's 32, but the thing I like about him is that he hasn't pitched a lot in the big league, so his arbitration is still okay right now. He's not a free agent per se. I think why is he?
And plus,
that's Freddie Galvis. I think is.
You would sign him back to a 1-year deal?
Why not?
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen.
I'd love to give that guy the next chance. He showed me a little bit, and I loved every bit of it. He did a great job in spring training. I mean, I liked what we got from Shoemaker. He's a great guy out on the mound. He's the veteran leadership. Again, it all depends on where the Jays are, though. If they have some pitchers coming up to the minor leagues who are playing amazing. Guy like Nate Pearson, who I want to get to in a second.
But I think that with Matt Shoemaker, listen, he wanted to prove his worth, and he's good, man. He's a good pitcher. He just can't stay healthy, and he wanted to get a big payday in the offseason. He can't do that, but I doubt the Jays are going to bring him back. Just because, I mean, really, someone's going to, on Buffalo, AAA, AA, or is probably going to come up to maybe take a spot. I don't know.
It all depends on what this roster looks like at the end of the season. Look, trade deadline rolls around. What if Marcus Stroman and Sanchez get traded, or one of them at least?
Well, you can't sign them anyways, or
well,
no,
the Jays can definitely sign them. They have no money.
Well, no, sign Shoemaker, because he's injured.
Right? No, I know, but I'm saying I don't know. I've really liked what he's done for this team in the very minimal part of the season, but again, I don't expect him to be back, but I'd like to see him back.
Yeah, me too. So let's talk about Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Or no, do you want to talk about...
We heard some reports that he's going to be playing tomorrow night, but those reports were shot down pretty quickly.
Just going to say that to make his big debut
against Kevin Pillar. Wouldn't that be an interesting debut?
Oh yeah,
but it might have overshadowed it a little bit. And it might be kind of weird.
Yeah, no,
but,
I'm glad that didn't happen.
Speaking of Kevin Pillar, he makes his return to Rogers Center tomorrow night. 7:07 first pitch, and
standing O.
I want the place to actually fill up a little bit because there's nobody there right now.
So this series, did we face Oakland at home?
No, it's Oakland and Minnesota on the road. And listen to this. This is a crazy stat here. And last time the Blue Jays swept a road series, it doesn't seem to be.
No. I'm gonna. What? No. I'm saying no.
It baffled me because
it's not a big issue. Yeah.
Right. You wouldn't think it would go back so far. How long? I mean,
I'm gonna say. Well, it's probably a ridiculous stat.
It's not crazy, but it's a little like whoa.
2 years.
The last time the Blue Jays swept a road series was 2015.
That's bad. Really?
The Joey Bats bat flip that year.
Even after that bat flip, we were a good team.
We made the wild card the year after. We have not swept the road series in that time.
Well, that just shows how bad the Jays have been for the last 2-3 years. But I mean, really, after the Joey Bats bat flip in 2016-17 and 17-18, not bad. I mean,
well, it's not like hockey. It's just 1 year. You don't go through the years.
Right.
So
yeah. Okay, well, sorry. The 2017 year. No, 2016 and 17 year. We were pretty good.
15-16, the team made the playoffs. And then 17 was kind of like the hang on for dear life year. And it didn't really work out too well.
No, didn't we face Texas twice? Oh, yeah, we did face Texas twice.
Right, but you had to get through the wild card.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm shocked about that.
So, yeah, anyways, with Kevin Pillar now, it's going to be exciting there at Rogers Center tomorrow. There's not a lot of excitement going on at Rogers Center lately, but...
Well, it's been empty, 7,000 fans?
It's crazy. And maybe with the 6 of the last 7 wins for the Blue Jays,
funny,
you might see a little bit more there.
Now I'm comparing this to hockey and all that, but when the Leafs were garbage, they would still sell out.
It's because the Leafs are one of the biggest franchises in the NHL.
Right.
If it was the New York Yankees, it wouldn't be that good. Actually, to be honest, when the Yankees weren't that great,
when were the Yankees not good?
I think it's because baseball is 162 games, and it drags out a little bit.
And it's 40,000 people to fill up, but at least get half that. You're not even getting half.
Yeah,
7,000.
There's some teams that really struggle, and you look at the Minnesota Twins. When the Jays were there in Minnesota, I swear I could count them on my hands. How many fans there were? It was bad.
I remember there was in your video.
I said Teoscar Hernandez hit a 3-run shot into the second deck, and there was one guy chasing the ball.
Good for him.
I mean, he didn't have to run. But someone else chasing it.
He probably got that ticket for $6.
Probably.
That's a steal. And you get a baseball that's worth what? Probably
more than $6.
Probably around 100. Well, okay, maybe $50.
But even then, watching the Jays tomorrow with Kevin Pillar coming back to town, it's going to be quite emotional for a lot of people. There's probably going to be a video tribute for him.
Bobblehead night for Pillar too, maybe? Or no. For the Giants. Or no, probably not. Something.
No, there wouldn't be a bobblehead for him. There's no giveaway for him, but it's just going to be a standing O. They'll probably give him, there'll definitely be a video tribute. There might even be some tears from Pillar because you saw when he left. The interview he had when he left, he was in tears as well. So this might be quite an interesting night there.
He's going to have a conversation with Smokey and all the boys there.
Oh yeah. So back to Vladdy now.
Well,
we were talking about him, and then we got into the Kevin Pillar.
I was going to ask you a question though.
Sure.
Not really. This isn't really related to Kevin Pillar, but I was just wondering because about the jersey retirement. Obviously, no for Kevin Pillar.
No.
But who's up there right now? I was kind of thinking about
Jose.
No, right now Jose's up there.
Oh no, who's up there? Who's up there right now? Oh god, well, there's quite a few names up there.
Oh, is there?
There's
Okay.
Dave Stieb, there's Delgado, Joe Carter. I know there's other guys, and I'm just trying to pick the ones off
that's
the top
fine.
of my head.
I'm just thinking is that if there's
Robbie Alomar.
Okay, so there's a few.
Cito Gaston.
I don't know why I just thought of that. Maybe because Kevin Pillar's coming back and great player, but
he wouldn't be up there.
No.
Joey
Bats, not even JD. I don't think he's going to be up there.
No, he was only here for 2 years, and it might be grabbing at straws to say Edwin, but I mean he was always in the top list when it comes to home run. In the level of excellence, I don't know. With Joey Bats,
definitely
Joey Bats. I mean, he's had a franchise record for home runs in a season, and he's like
50.
second.
Wasn't it 51 or something?
54 home runs that year. Yeah.
Wait, was that the year with the really greasy?
2010.
That was the one with the swoop or whatever. No, that was the one with the Jays, the mean Blue Jay, where it kind of looked mean on the hat.
It was their old logo. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, I'll search it up. You keep talking.
But anyways, I think the main thing now we look forward to is seeing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like the Jays are playing really good ball right now. I mean, but again, this is what happens over a 162 game season. You have your lull as the Jays did to start the year. Then you have your really good stretch as the Jays are doing right now. But for the Toronto Blue Jays, yeah, that's the logo right there. Yeah. And for the Jays, we kind of look at Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We were here. Look, he's getting very close to getting called up to the Toronto Blue Jays. We know that for a fact.
He's hitting dingers like crazy. And
he's hitting over 400 down there in Double A. And a guy to keep an eye on, Kevin Biggio. Now we were talking about him, in spring training and all that stuff. And last year he won. I think it was MVP down there in Double A. Yeah. He hit like 26 home runs down there, and it was great to see. But this year in Buffalo, last time I checked, he's hitting over 400, which is ridiculous.
Well, you're going to keep him down. You're not going to bring him up. But it's just something to keep your eye on, right? Yeah. Because you don't want to. But Vladdy is in a different stratosphere as Kevin Biggio.
Well, I think he's in a different stratosphere than anybody. Really.
I know. That's why I'm saying he's the one exception to, okay, you bring him up.
Yeah, plus the Blue Jays are struggling at third base, even though Brandon Drury's had a pretty good last few games. But as for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., it won't be too much longer. And last thing I want to say, a guy to keep an eye on in the pipeline, in the prospect pool for the Blue Jays. Right-handed pitcher, Nate Pearson.
Who did we get him for?
Now, so this is the whole spiel on Nate Pearson.
Oh, you already told me about the supplemental draft and all that, right? Was this him?
Yeah, with Edwin. No, are we talking about Luciano with the Rule 5 draft? Is that what you were getting at?
I think so.
Okay, no. So we're talking a supplement. No, we're talking a draft pick that was attached to Edwin Encarnacion that he left and re-signed with another team. So we got another draft pick.
Oh, okay.
So we signed, I think it was Logan Warmoth, the shortstop we got. And then with the second first-round pick, we got Nate Pearson. Right-handed pitcher. Yeah, he can throw hard, but you don't really know what he's going to do.
Right.
Last year was expected to be a big jump for this kid.
Yeah.
He gets, I think it was the second start of the year, he gets hit, line drive right off the arm, done for the season. Right. And we're all like, that is really tough. The guy's 6'6". He throws over 100. He's in there in Dunedin right now in High A Dunedin.
Is he lefty or righty?
He's a righty. He's 6'6".
So he's not who that Johnson guy on the Rockies?
Chris you mean? Oh.
No, like back in the day. Remember that giant guy?
Randy Johnson?
Yeah, Randy Johnson.
I mean, that guy was probably like 6'6" and 120 pounds. It was ridiculous.
That guy that hit the bird? Do you remember that bird?
Yeah,
that flew?
yeah. That was Randy Johnson. But anyways, this guy is projected to be a number 3 starter, but I don't see that. This guy's there in Dunedin right now. He's 3-0.
How old is he?
1.3 ERA. He's 22 years old. This guy is going to be in Double-A New Hampshire really fast.
So could he pull the Ryan Brookie phase?
It wouldn't surprise me if he's in Triple-A at the end of the year. It really wouldn't.
No, but I mean like getting brought up with the Jays later on in the season because wasn't Ryan Brookie?
So what Ryan Brookie did was he went through like 3 levels.
Yeah.
And then ended in Buffalo. Then started the next year in Buffalo. Had a really good start. Then the Jays called him up. Mm-hmm. And I think if Nate Pearson continues to progress the way he is right now, that's what I see this team doing with him.
Right.
It would not surprise me if he ends the year in AAA. And if he ends the year in AA and pitches really well in AA, then that's fine by me as well. But this guy is a guy to keep an eye on. Really good, throws hard, strikes out a ton of guys.
What's something to keep your eye on?
And he's one of the Jays' top 10 prospects. Really excited looking player.
Oh, that's good.
All right, so now we're getting to the podcast questions here, and
rushing through this a little bit, but
we have to. Yeah. And I'm a main man, Mo Buckets on Twitter, buddy. I know you were probably listening to the podcast, and I know you sent me a lot of questions from the Instagram page that you have.
Do you want to wait for that next week?
Yeah, because as you can probably tell, we're already on almost an hour and 20 minutes. So I thank you so much for all the questions, buddy. But as you can probably tell, we can't really get to them all
Thursday?
Right now. Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, because Thursday we're going
to do it. Not next Thursday. In like what? A couple days.
Couple days. Yeah. So we'll be doing a podcast in a couple days. So those questions that you had then, I can just answer. We can answer those.
We're gonna have more time. Yeah.
And they're gonna be really all Blue Jays questions because it's a Blue Jays fan page.
That's fine.
All right, we're gonna start here with Brooke. Vlad's possible debut on the same night as Pilar's return. Thoughts? Well,
we just discussed that.
It was initially brought up, but
who brought it up?
I don't know who
was it was. Was it a fake account? Or
I don't know. But they initially said, "Look, it's not going to happen." It would have been interesting, and I think it might have overshadowed each other, which might have been quite weird.
Maybe that's why they didn't do it.
And plus, because they want to sell more tickets, so why would you do it on the same day, right? I mean, if that's what the Blue Jays are thinking.
Vladdy and Pilar Day should be separate
but
days.
It won't be much longer there, Brooke. Vladdy will be up here very soon. Reid-Foley, are you disappointed about the Newfoundland Growlers' 8-2 loss in Brampton after having a 3-0 series lead, now 3-2? I'm only asking because I'm from Newfoundland and you're close to Brampton, and Newfoundland is the Leafs team.
Listen, any team that's associated with the Leafs, I'm sad they lose.
Well, it's a 3-0 lead and is now a 3-2 series lead.
Hold on, what happened there?
So 3-0 series
So the Growlers are facing Brampton.
And it was a 3-0 series lead. Now it's a 3-2 series lead. They just got wiped 8-2.
I thought the Brampton had the AHL team.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Actually, no. I heard
Isn't the Brampton Beast in it?
Yeah, Brampton Beast. I heard that if the winner of the ECHL faces the AHL team, one of them. Go back to that question. Okay. So what's the answer here? Because no,
I mean, look, am I disappointed? Yeah, but as long as they close the series out, it doesn't matter. Right?
And plus, you're facing an AHL team in the Brampton Beast.
They're not playing the AHL team. They're in the ECHL. They're playing an ECHL team.
Brampton Beast is not an AHL team. ECHL.
But am I disappointed? Hell yeah, aren't you?
Well, my mother is from down east, so she's close to Newfoundland.
She's probably watching right now.
She's at home now.
Well,
last week she probably did.
Yeah, watching the Growlers play the Brampton Beast.
All right, I watched that too.
Thank you so much, Reid-Foley, for your question. Roderick, out of the Leafs, Raptors, and Jays, who do you think will win? Hold on. Who do you think will be the first to win a championship? It's so hard to say this, right? Because you look at talent-wise. Look, the Leafs have an opportunity in the coming years to do so, but
Okay.
As of right now, the Bruins are the team that can't beat.
Listen,
right now.
Bottom line is for right now Raptors, but for the future Leafs.
Yeah, I think
because right now the Raptors are ready to win right now. The Leafs, I wouldn't be surprised if they win now, but it's a bit too soon for them in my opinion.
Right.
So future Leafs, right now Raptors. So Raptors.
I agree. And
Raptors.
the Jays are going through a rebuild. They're
getting there. In another 5 years.
And then Stephen W. Prediction of the Eastern semifinals, assuming Raptors, Bucks, and Sixers win their series. I think we already talked about that. And the Raptors. And
you just pretty much named it right there. Raptors versus the Sixers, Bucks versus the Celtics.
Predictions on the Eastern semifinal. Oh, yeah, true. Yep. I guess who's going to win those series, I guess.
Okay. So let's just wrap
Bucks and Celtics.
Celtics.
Celtics are going to beat them.
7.
Wow.
Yep. Playoff experience.
In Milwaukee, they're going to take it?
Yep.
Woo,
I'm a crazy dude.
Baby.
Raptors for 76ers, Raptors in 6.
Wow, they're gonna win it in Philly. Oh boy, man, you are not a.
I'm right. Knicks making the playoffs too, so don't hold this to me because remember I said that.
Yeah, I know, right? That was your hot take before the season started.
Next year they're gonna go 52 and
because they're gonna sign 3 All-Stars, 3 max deals or whatever.
And they're gonna get Zion.
Anyways, my opinion on this is that the Raptors are gonna beat the Sixers in 7. I think it's gonna go all the way to 7. I think the Bucks are gonna win in. I think they're going to win in 7. I think it's going to be a fight.
7, okay.
I really do believe
that's rare for both. Okay.
But both series are going to be really, really tough.
Okay.
Evan Stack, not Evan Shack, like you said earlier on.
Last year in season 1.
Saying, hey, come on, we can't let you live that down. Evan Stack, who will be the first Blue Jay to get ejected from a game?
Rowdy Tellez.
Right? Was he getting rowdy? Is that why?
Yeah, no, he's gonna throw his weight around. If he throws his weight around, there could be a lot of injuries.
I think it's going to be Marcus Stroman.
Nah, I think it's gonna be. What's his face? I think it's gonna be Rowdy. If a guy's rowdy, and his first name's Rowdy, what do you expect's gonna happen?
He's gonna get real rowdy.
Listen, if he throws his weight around, people can get hurt. Right? Umpires are get injured. Whatever's gonna get injury.
But I think it's gonna be Marcus Stroman. I think Marcus Stroman's gonna be the first guy to get ejected.
What did Skip Bayless just tweet there?
Well, okay. Well, let me just read that out here. Is Ezekiel Elliott really fat? Next on Undisputed. Well, I mean,
he's burly.
I'm a Giants fan, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to answer that question.
Skip Bayless would think about Zeke's weight and his.
Yeah, he would be. I mean, he would think about how good he looks and all that stuff. Way to go, Skip Bayless. Anyways,
thank you for listening to episode 15 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast. Again,
long
thank you guys
episode.
for listening. Long episode, but it was needed.
Yep.
We're gonna be back in 2 days. 3 days.
3 days, yeah. Thursday afternoon.
Thursday afternoon, 12:30ish. Again, I'll tweet the questions Wednesday. So stay tuned for episode 16.
And ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow is probably one of the bigger sports nights in what, Toronto, I wouldn't say, maybe history? Maybe?
Last 10 years.
Yeah. Leafs in Game 7 against the Bruins, looking to exercise their demons. The Raptors looking to move on to round 2. And the Blue Jays, welcome back Kevin Pillar.
So, all tomorrow.
All tomorrow.
Wow,
it is going to be a doozy of a night for Toronto sports. Nothing tonight. We all get to relax, breathe, and get ready for tomorrow. It is going to be a fight.
And there's going to be a lot of yelling. And TV room smashing and everything, just going, beers flying.
And I might lose my voice, but that's okay.
That's okay.
All right, so guys, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed episode 15 of the TO Sports Talk podcast, and Evan and I will talk to you guys on Thursday, just a few days from now. We'll be talking about what happened with the Leafs, and did the Raptors move on?
And a possible second-round series matchup review, maybe. Or not really preview of Columbus versus the Leafs.
Well, you never know. Or Raptors and Sixers.
Yeah.
It'll be a really interesting podcast there on Thursday, guys. Probably a lot of questions because we'll be using the Instagram questions from Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, guys.
He changed it?
Yeah, he changed the name from Blue Jays Center to Blue Jays Wave. So he's going to be he sent me a bunch of questions, so we'll be talking about those.
If you have not, follow him up.
Great guy, quality content, guys. Go follow that up. And thank you guys so much for listening. And Evan and I will talk to you guys Thursday, and I'll talk to you guys, all 3 teams, tomorrow night.
It could be a lot of jersey swapping.
Kevin Pillar is back. The Leafs look to move on to round 2, and the Raptors look to move on to round 2. Thank you guys so much for listening, and Evan and I will talk to you guys Thursday.
Peace.